Oh man, another week down. What's going on, everybody? We're back again, the usual suspects. Happy
Right.
Memorial Day. Memorial Day to everybody that is serving or has served. I guess happy Memorial Day to you too, old man.
All
Um,
right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
oh man, how was your week? How's your weekend?
uh, just relaxing, relaxing. This hot and humid here, but hey, it's good to be off. It's good to be
That's
off
good.
and relaxing and celebrate the veterans and the ones who are serving. So
No
yes,
barbecues
yes.
or anything. You're not barbecuing. I mean, I figured that was what you would do in your, your free time in your prime. You figure out how to barbecue or something like that.
Well, well, we already know how to do that.
Mm.
We're the best cooks,
Oh,
but
okay.
no, not this time. I'm taking a break.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
surprising.
the old man needs a break.
You
Old
got to
man needs
find
a
some
break.
other hobbies. You can't do what you used to do. All right. Well, we got a pretty decent one today. We're talking about some beauty. Beauty. I guess we could just start off with what do you think? What's your opinion on it? What do you think it is, or like your
Uh,
definition?
Well, I mean, it's external and internal. Um, it's not always outside; it's what's inside as well. So that's the basis of it. For the youth, how do you see beauty? How do
Uh,
you look at it?
well, it for me personally, it's more of an inner thing, but a lot
Mhm.
of the majority, it's all outer, as you can tell. Especially once again with social media and everything else that is now, you can just you show it all off on Instagram. There's not a whole lot to what's the word to be surprised about.
Oh, I leave to your imagination.
Ex-
If you can see it, yeah, you can
exactly.
see it.
Yeah, you can see everything now. So there's no mystery in a sense.
That's right. That's right.
Which
That's
I mean, it
right.
could be a good and a bad thing. So it just depends. But what do you think about the term beautiful? Because this was a discussion I had um, prior prior to getting on was,
Mhm.
and this is from my point of view, I've never heard a a guy be described as beautiful. It was more of a term used for women. Uh,
That's correct.
like guys are more so like
Handsome.
handsome or maybe the occasional fine or something like that. But I've never heard a guy be called beautiful before. So
That's
this topic may be more catered to the women,
right.
but you know,
That's where my mind's at. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. So I don't know. It was just I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there before we dive deeper. That this is where we're coming from. I've never heard of a man be called beautiful. Maybe on like a once in a blue moon occasion by a female,
we,
but other than that,
never heard it.
yeah. But I
But
guess the first thing we could do is who has beauty, or how do you describe who has the how would you describe who has it?
okay, for me, I look at the natural. Um, it doesn't come with layers,
Mm,
layers of makeup or anything like. I'm talking about natural beauty, natural hair, natural nails, skin, everything, and that's where I look at for beauty. Um, you know, these days you can put layers on and look like anything you want. I mean, it's just the way it is. So for me, natural beauty is what I define the exterior side of it is the natural.
okay. Okay.
How do you see it?
Pretty much the same thing. Uh, there has to be some how do I want to say this? Natural beauty is the best thing to have. 'Cause at the end of the day, when you take it all off, unless the person seeing you know, the person sees like, oh, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. You're not trying to
Right.
deal with any of that. But also the personality as well could be beautiful. Uh, as far as whether or not y'all mesh personality wise, because you could be physically attracted to anybody, but at the end of the day, you're going to be dealing with that person on a communicative level, and that personality may not be beautiful, as
Right.
it would be an ugly personality. So that's
It's like
where,
yeah,
right? That's
the
it,
ex yeah, and the internal, being a good person.
right? So that's where I look at it as far as from my point of
So
view.
people your age look at the internal more than the external. Is that what you're saying?
I think they are more external than internal, to
Mhm.
be honest with you. I mean, of course, you have the.
We are too.
I mean,
No, I'm just saying.
in all
I'm just saying.
honesty, being a guy, I mean, we're going to look at the external first before we look at
Yeah,
the internal, and
yeah,
let's keep it a buck like that.
yeah.
We're
You
gonna
had to have babies. That's debate.
we're gonna see you first before we interact with you. So,
That's right. That's right.
um, but that I believe my generation is more so the external. Like I said, due to the fact that we have all these outlets to present yourself. So that's the first thing you see is somebody's exterior before you interact with them.
Okay. And the same here. I mean, it's just natural. That's just who we are. We visual. I mean, I don't know that person. I just see that person. So
Right.
yes, yes, absolutely. Um, but once you get to know them, if that external internal overrides external.
Right.
So that's why it's so important, the latter, the internal, the personality, um, the type of person. And that is not something that you can put layers on, you know, cover up. That's who you are. So
Right.
so that's why, and one thing too, beauty fades. You're not gonna always look that good. It's gonna change.
I mean, there's one-offs. there's definitely
Oh,
one. There's
yeah,
definitely. There's
very
definitely.
few,
There's
very
definitely
few of them.
one-offs. But
I
yes, an
mean, you
overall
see,
blanket statement. Yes, yes, yes. It
yes,
will fade. But there's definite one-offs where it's just you age immaculately.
but see that comes with how you take care of yourself naturally.
Perhaps.
I've I've seen people with a lot of money try to pay to stay young and they look horrible.
Hmm.
I mean, you see it in the acting realm, plastic surgery and things like that. They look like I don't want to say for clowns.
Right.
They just don't look real. They just look weird,
Hmm.
and they have the money and the resources to get good job, good, doctors to perform the surgeries, and it still doesn't work.
Right.
So, but you can see someone who, you know, have natural, and when I say natural, it comes where you got issues with your skin. You drinking water, you exercising, you doing the things to keep your body at a top level, where the aging process slows down. And this is scientific that the more active you are, things you do, it slows down the aging process. It didn't say that it stops it, but it slows it down.
Okay. Well, but would you say, in that leads me to my next point? Can you but can you essentially buy it, or is it just one of those things where it's temporary? Like you get it and it lasts you a couple of years, but then you're back to square one at the end of the day with like the liposuction and the 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 body enhancements and everything like that. Um, so I guess in a sense you can, but at the end of the day, you still have the personality you are on the inside, but what you buy is only going to last for so long.
Yeah, and that's true. And the thing about it, you have to wonder why would somebody pay for it?
Mm,
You know, is there? I think it's probably a little bit more to it than um, just physical things. It's emotional things.
mm,
Insecurities might be there. They don't feel good about themselves, um, and so with that being said, for a temporary fix, just so you can feel good, yeah, the cost is worth it. But the long term, it still doesn't address the problems, probably. That's, emotional, psychological problems that might
mm.
be going on. I mean, I know y'all young guys like the, yeah, you don't care. Y'all just want to see the end result, the end product. So how you see you see it,
Um, oof, how will we see it? To be honest, nowadays it's very hard to tell. Uh, if- in certain situations, of course, you could tell, but overall, it's getting harder and harder to tell who has those alterations done. Because the
Not
technology,
here in Atlanta.
well, maybe
But
there
no,
where you're at, maybe there where you're at, but overall, it's getting harder and harder to tell because the technology is getting better, the doctors are getting better, they have more better equipment to use. So as time goes on, it's going to be impossible to tell. Well, not impossible, but I'm sure the person would be courteous enough to let you know that, hey, this is not me. Essentially,
you think they would do that?
some might. I mean, if they have a conscience, I don't know. I'm not them. So
Okay. I'm just saying, do you think they'll say, "Oh, I had this, that"? Well, some of them proud of it, but I'm
right,
just,
yeah. There's
yeah.
some that are definitely proud once they get it done. They're like, yeah, show it off and everything like that. It's just like, wait, you're showing off the engine, but nobody nobody really nobody's trying to drive the car in a sense, so it's just it's just really it's just really interesting, and I'm sure the you can tell from your standpoint the women are evolving. They're getting prettier and prettier, however you want to say it, every generation. It is so it's because you have these methods to take care of yourselves now. And so I'm sure back in your day when they were like old and busted, and
Oh no! I gotta correct you on that. No.
the
It it was
new
more
hotness
natural.
all over
It was
here.
more natural. But I look at the young ladies. They all look alike,
Mm,
and they use the same. It's like the same format. Foundation, eyelashes, eyeliner, all that. And you could put them side by side and they could look like twins.
mm,
Two different girls, two different places. They look alike. Back in my day, it was individuals. They had their own uniqueness.
mm,
Now it's like across the board. I got to have this many layers, and then also it was probably more expensive. Probably, well, now it's a business, so it's probably more expensive now than it is the makeup and all the stuff now because it's a business. But back then, it's just that was a luxury.
mm,
Now, y'all guys in your era, it's a necessity. It's not a luxury. Because you think about after they take those layers off, they look like a totally different person.
mm,
They got bad skin, because you're not, taking care of your skin. You know, back back in the day, you had to take care of your skin. You had to take care of your, your hair, because if you didn't, you're gonna be you're gonna look how you look.
Mm.
You didn't have all those the makeup and things to cover it.
Hmm. I think it's more so they are taking care, personally, from what I've seen. I think
Hmm.
our generation is doing more taking care of ourselves. I think my generation is taking care of ourselves more than than your generation, with health and fitness and everything like that. So people are maintaining their essential exterior beauty a lot longer, than from what I've seen. Somebody from the 1800s, and everything like that. Uh,
But I'm gonna have to disagree on that, because think about it. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have things. So we were more athletic. We went outside. We played. We
mhm,
ran. We did things. They don't do that now. They worry about getting their hair wet. You know, back in the day, you didn't worry about that. Didn't worry about that. So the fitness wise, I have to disagree
mhm,
with that. Um, you know, and the parenting was a little different. It was more of a, you know, I'm gonna braid your hair. They sit down and braided your hair. Not putting somebody else's hair in there. I'm saying braid your hair, braid
mhm,
it down, things like that. So, I, and the only the only drink outside of Kool-Aid was water. Yeah. So
mm,
I mean, so I I kind of disagree with that. The young, but fitness is a business now, so it's promoted more
right.
than back in the day. But I don't think it's used to the extent that a whole generation is using the gym. Like a whole generation use the regular outside, running outside, playing, being active.
Mm.
So that's mine.
And I mean, you may be right, but from what I've seen, and come
Mhm.
across, a majority of the women, that I've encountered, are usually in the gym a couple of times a week, just maintaining. You don't have to
Maintain.
go hard, just maintaining. Uh, and so
So I
that's
got a
what.
question.
Uh huh.
So what about the obesity increase? Why I'm noticing a lot of women, younger women,
Mm.
overweight. I'm just
That
saying.
that may fall back to what we were saying earlier, as far as a psychological thing. They may not be happy with themselves. There's no telling,
But you
for
stay in
that.
the gym. You stay in the gym.
Mm.
You say they go to the gym more and
Mm.
all that.
I've
I'm
seen
just
plenty in the gym when I went to the gym
oh,
before. Yeah,
okay,
like they're working. I was like, hey, look at you doing your thing over there
right.
on the step
I mean,
master, the treadmills, everything like that. So I'm just basing it off of what I've seen. Now that may be different for somebody else per se, that
right.
stays at home or doesn't do anything physically active for an extended period of time. But just from what I've seen a lot more people my age in the gym, more being health conscious,
Right.
about everything they're
And there's
doing.
more information out there now. It is more
Right.
information compared to when we were growing up about the importance of it. But I don't know, the use has been
Mm-hmm.
corresponds with the information.
I suppose so. I mean, but at the same time, you're not sending a carrier pigeon to that young lady to ask her out on a date or anything like that.
Uh,
Rapunzel let down your hair. We're not in that
hey,
age anymore.
but back in the day, at least we could climb it. Now it might fall out.
Yeah, yeah, you might be right. You might be right. You might be right.
but with all that aside, you think all the means, everything they go through to have the surgeries and the butt lifts and the makeup and the hair, is it worth it?
No, absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, if the if well, if you're happy with it, by all means, run with it.
Right.
But somebody, whoever you may end up with, might not be happy about it, or you get older and then you're not happy about it. Then you look back on it and what was the point of doing it? So if you want to do it, do you by all means. I mean, live your best life. But me personally, I mean, let's be honest. As a guy, we don't really care. Like we,
Really, I mean, as long as you take care of yourself and
it's that's
you're more natural than unnatural,
right,
um, I really don't have an issue with it. It's everything within moderation.
right,
Um, and for me, um, when it comes to that type of stuff where you're going under and things like that, you can die doing that
right,
surgery. I mean, you're totally healthy. Um, you can, like you said, go to the gym, change. I'm not saying dieting, but change your diet, change how you eat, and you can get the same results. It just takes work,
right.
and I don't think it's worth it when you're putting your life at risk for surgery that you don't really need.
Yeah.
I mean, in some cases you might need it because of health issues. You got to a point where you can't even help yourself.
Mm,
You're so out of it. Your body, you just can't do anything, and then you have to have surgery. But it still requires you to do some things before you even capable of having that surgery. So I think with technology, it comes a sense of laziness that they just don't want to work to get it off. That it's easier to go get it cut off or sucked out or whatever, or
mm,
tucked in or tucked out. What so that's so in that case, I don't think it's worth the risk. Um, in some cases, that's the only resort because of health issues. You have to have that
right,
surgery, or you're gonna. But unless you're to that point, I think just put the work in.
right. And
And
that because I've heard some things that make me nervous about like when people go under the knife, like the like if they get surgery, like the bag exploding in their chest and then it spreads throughout their body and they die from something like that. And that's
right,
or like they get hit too hard or something like that and the bag pops or something like that. That is that
broken organ, they hit something when they're sucking out the fat,
right.
puncture something. It's a lot of variables there that I mean, you know, I don't want to call name, but you had celebrities. Mother passed away from having surgery. She was fine,
Mm,
but she wanted plastic surgery, and the end result was it cost her life.
mm,
And countless others. Going overseas, getting surgeries, bargain surgeries. I mean, when my life is involved, at least I'm gonna pay for
top
what I
notch.
get.
Right.
That's right. So, but it's I just don't think the risk is worth it. Um, when you can put the work in.
Right. Well, what do you think about I don't know if this is a continuing trend, but I've heard a couple of instances of teenagers getting surgeries done. Uh, what do you think there needs to be like a well? I mean, as a parent, you if they're okay with the parent, you really can't say no. I can't do this per se, but overall, do you think there should be like a limitation on when you get surgeries
Absolutely,
done?
absolutely. Um, like I said, if I did the things that I thought as a kid I should be able to do, I probably wouldn't be here today. Somebody has to make a rational decision. The kid doesn't, you know, they're just social media is part of that.
Mm,
Um, this false narrative of this is what is acceptable, this is what is good, and that changes, just like fashion.
mm,
what's good today is not good tomorrow. Then you done something that you can't change. You can't turn it back. You already, you know, and I I always believe in always having options. And then I don't believe a kid that has the know it all, or the knowledge of what life is or things like that, because they're just learning. They're growing. They're maturing. They're not mature enough to make that type of decision. And I gotta be mature enough and strong enough to say no. That's part of that no
Mhm.
thing that people got to realize that it's part of life. And
Well, that falls on the parent because they have to get the
that's
parents.
right. It
They
does.
have to
It
get the
does.
parents' consent in order to put them under night.
Right.
So,
That's right. But that's what I'm saying. The parents not teaching the kids the emotional side of things.
mm,
They're catering to it, and it's not. I just disagree with that. And plastic surgery, and I've heard of that type of situation when you talk about a kid, a 10 or 13-year-old kid want breast augmentation. Are you kidding me?
mm.
This, this, I mean, it shouldn't even be news because it's so. To me, it's just the parent just has to shut it down and say, "Look, you get it when you can pay for
Right. And that's
it."
that's agreeable. It just made me think about when you were talking about the surgeries. Made me think about that situation where the teenagers are getting surgeries
Right.
and other things like that just at a really young age. It's like when your body's just starting to mature, and it's like so you end up messing up that maturity because you may end up getting what you want before you even
That's right. That's right.
you may mature
You
into that.
do.
Yeah. So
It's the now. It's the now. Y'all, your group. Now, I want it now.
yeah.
I want it now. Not tomorrow.
Uh,
Now.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. It's just really interesting. I just seeing the way the world is going
Hmm.
with beauty, whether it be artificial or not, and the standards that everybody is setting. It just makes it. I think it puts a lot of stress on the women out there. To be honest with you,
Unwanted.
yeah.
I mean, unneeded stress.
Mm. Uh, tr-
Because but you know what? Because I look at athletes. Look at the Olympics. Look at the female athletes out there. They're beautiful. They're in
mm.
shape. Their bodies. I'm sorry. I don't mean to, but I mean they have good skin, and it's a whole process because of their regimen. They eat right. They exercise. I mean, look at the next Olympics. I mean, I don't even have to say anymore. You talk about beauty. That's
Well, just the
that's
athletes
it.
and athletes in general, they
Yeah,
have specific regimens they got to follow, taking care of their bodies, massages, nutritionists,
that's right.
everything like that. So they're going to be the top 1% of people that look good, essentially
That's right.
outside of like the actors and actresses that are in movies. But
That's right.
I think that causes a lot of stress for the majority of the population looking to keep up with those standards. But at the end of the day, it's just like just do you. Like somebody's going to like you for you and not what you're trying to look like in a sense.
It's called settling. No,
That
I'm just joking.
that'll be another episode. That'll definitely be for another episode.
Oh, it doesn't matter how you look. It's just your personality. That's what I'm. But like I said, it's,
Hey,
uh,
that's for another episode. That one right there, that's a spicy topic for another episode. The settling, I mean, I'll just say this: for us guys, we don't have a whole lot. We don't have a whole lot of requirements for us, but y'all, on the other hand, women, you got some things to. we got to talk about some things for y'all. But that, like I said, that we'll leave that for another day.
That's right.
We'll
That's right.
definitely leave that for another day.
Yeah, yeah, because let's focus a little bit on the men. So let's say I'm sitting here, you know, I'm bald, obvious. So
Mhm.
if I had a toupee on, you'd probably be over there like, man, why don't you take that stuff off his head? Because it's not natural. It doesn't look right. So I'm just saying that the more natural you are, and the more you take care of yourself, I know you want the approval of other people, but you got to love you, and nobody can do that for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I
Oh
I
yeah.
don't have to worry about somebody else loving me, so I feel I'm worthy of anything. So I mean I don't know the youth how you look at that. Do you need somebody else's approval?
I feel like a majority of people do. Of course,
Hmm.
there are those that may suffer mentally from whatever background they
That's right.
come from or something like that.
Mhm.
That they never got that approval, so that's what they might be seeking, and that's no fault of their own.
No.
So it just depends on the circumstance. But overall, from my viewpoint, I would say that there's a lot of looking for uh, approval. Excuse me. There's a lot of
Yes.
approval seeking going on for stuff that you don't need approval for.
That's right. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So no, but yeah, this is a good topic. I got the youth perspective. They look at the body and not the mind. But like,
I
yeah,
mean, it's kind of hard to look at the mind when the body's posted all over social media. That's the first thing you see. That's the first thing you see when
oh,
you in the
and
social
you're like,
media area.
oh man, she looks like she has a good mind, but
It-
everything else is
It's like let's be real. Let's be real. The first thing you're gonna see is the body. You're not gonna see the mind until you actually interact with that person.
that's right, that's right, that's right. So okay, I got a question for you.
Mhm.
Once you get the interaction, what level, what would be the um, deal breaker? She got the body, she got the face, everything, all that. What would be the deal breaker?
I think this is a good one. I think this is a standard for all men, most men,
Mhm.
is that self-centeredness. I think that's the because it's one thing if you're attractive and you don't flaunt it. That
Mhm.
I think a lot of guys find that very attractive in a woman
Absolutely do.
compared to the women that are attractive and like, yeah, I'm attractive, I can get everything I want. And then we're just like, so I think that's that's
Not me though. Yeah, but not me. I'm out.
so
Yeah.
I think that's the big one
So okay. So in your words, what's the ultimate beauty? What's
in my
for
words.
the youth? For the youth, yeah. For the
Or,
youth, you know, what would you consider the ultimate? Everything.
ooh, that's a layered question. What is the ultimate? I don't think there is an ultimate, to be honest with you, because that's going to be everyone's different. There's
That's
You can't set a gold standard for everything
right.
because everyone is not you. So I know that might be an easy cop out to that question, but that unfortunately that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. I can't sit there and say, oh, this is the ultimate beauty, and then I talked to my friend and he's like, oh, well, this is the ultimate beauty for me. This is what she has to have, this, that, and the other. And our views are totally different. So,
Right. Right.
and I'm sure, for your generation, as long as she's breathing and has
Got teeth.
got teeth, I think she'd be fine, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, about close. That's about it. That's about 99% of it. You know, but yeah, it's beauty is like you said, it's everybody's different. Everybody sees things different. You know, some people like to mirror image of their mothers. You know,
Hmm.
in a woman. So it varies, but the visual is the first thing we see. Is you know, and that's what we react on, and then everything else comes second. But the second part is the most important part on
Right.
top of all that.
Right. And before we head out, I wanted to, I don't know if you've heard this, but a friend told me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he's like, if you want to know how a woman looks, look at their mother. And I was just like,
I've heard
I
that.
was like, wait, what? And he was like, yeah, if you want to know what they look like when they get older, look at their mother. And then it's always stuck to me to this day. It's just like,
It's some truth to that. It's
yeah.
some truth to that. It's some truth to that. It's some
But yeah, I've never heard that. And when he told me, I was just like, oh, well, that's a light bulb. So no rush to meet anybody's mother or anything like that out there. But if you get that
Well, you know,
question,
that's the first thing you want to do.
but
You
but I'm
know, look
saying
at that.
if you hear that question from a guy that you're talking to, you know why. They're
That's right.
if they're in there for the long
Hey
run.
man, what you screaming about?
All
I'm
right,
out
but
of here. No, no.
all right, but Jay, do you have anything else you want to say to the people? Because I think that's about it for our time, man.
Yeah, that's it. Happy Memorial Day to everyone, and stay safe. And thank you for your service.
All right, and I'm Tack, and I'll see you all next week, and we're out of here. Later, everybody.